Hi everybody, welcome back Inside Lighthouse. As you can see, we're in our office and I wanted to take this time to be able to explain to you the difference between open cell and closed cell spray foam. Almost on a daily basis, I get calls from clients asking me certain questions about what we do with spray foam and how we use it and the differences between materials. And what I found is that there's not a lot of great information online. This video is meant to be a starting point for you so that you can dive into the forums, the blogs, all the information that's available to you, so you can make the best decision for you and your family. This is meant to educate you to a certain degree, but it's gonna take more past watching this video. I've shot this a few times, and this is actually a really complicated subject because you have to look at open cell and closed cell together. Open cell and closed cell are the two primary forms of spray foam that are used in construction. You have roofing foam and concrete lifting foam, all these other different specialty materials, but the most common thing that you're gonna encounter is open cell and closed cell. And in my opinion, contractors and websites have been misdirecting, misinforming, almost to a negligence point for the last 10 years, at least as long as I've been doing this. So let's take a broad stroke look at open cell and closed cell. The main gauge for insulation is RValue. RValue is the thermal transfer of heat and cold through a material, and it's the cornerstone that most building officials judge insulation. Open cell spray foam is soft and spongy. It's very easy to tear. It's about half the RValue of closed cell foam. Typically, well, it's a little bit more than half. Typically, it's about an RValue of 4 per inch. It's used most common in zone climates that are zone climate 4 and below. The zone climate is the area in the country that you live. Where we are in Chicagoland, we are in zone climate 5, which offers us a certain starting point for determining what material is best. Closed cell is the polar opposite. It's very structural, it's very strong. If you hit on it, it sounds like it's a solid piece of material, and this is the starting point for the difference. The materials themselves are inherently very different. Open cell is trapped air inside of cellular structures. Closed cell is a trapped gas inside of cellular structures. So as we're looking at the difference between these two materials, we have to take in consideration a few things. RValue, the space that you have to work with, whether or not a vapor barrier is required in your zone climate, and what the budget is. And this all leads to making the best decision possible. My big light bulb moment when I first started researching this was understanding that if heat and cold get too close to one another without a vapor barrier, we can have condensation. Sometimes when I talk with my clients, I can be idealistic, and ideally, I believe closed cell throughout an entire structure is the best way to go. Frankly, it doesn't really meet with a lot of budgets, and so typically we have to use different hybrid systems, and I want to introduce that to you. A hybrid system is using two materials to achieve the same purpose as one. In our industry, typically a hybrid system would involve closed cell foam and fiberglass bat, or in our case, and in a lot of cases, and in an increasing amount across the country, 2 inches of closed cell foam with open cell over the top of that to achieve an RValue is a really great system. And we've been doing it a lot more. It gets you the best of both worlds. It has 2 inches of closed cell foam to eliminate the condensation point. Regardless of the warm side, it performs perfectly. And then the open cell is cheaper, and you can get the RValue that you need to pass your inspection. I just got a call the other day for a passive house, and they're actually looking for an R40 in the exterior wall. There's no really other way to achieve it than using closed cell foam with the amount of space that they had requested. But to counter that, I get calls all the time for people that are looking to do open cell. And I tell them that if they know the difference between those two materials and they decide that they want to use open cell, I'm happy to spray it. The one takeaway that I want you to have after watching this video is the need to do more research. And really, we can on this channel dive in deeper on this. That's okay, I can do that. But what I mentioned earlier is that anything that I say to my clients sounds salesy because closed cell foam is more expensive. Until they've done the research to understand why closed cell foam is valuable, why it should be used, why open cell in a lot of cases just isn't an option, there's gonna be a huge disconnect between me and them. And the only way I know how to bridge that gap is to encourage my clients to do the research. Once they see that the things I'm talking about is just physics, is just eliminating variables, we can start having conversations about what the actual budget is. What I find really interesting is that the actual budget of a project is whatever it takes to get it done to the capacity that that client wants it. And so that can change. We do open cell spray foam. We use open cell in sound attenuation. We'll use it in combinations, but 95% of the time we're spraying closed cell foam because of where we live. If you live in the South, you may be able to get away with using open cell foam. And frankly, if I lived anywhere else in the country, I would be trying to use open cell foam right off the bat. My hope is that one day people assume they're going to be using closed cell foam and they decide to use open cell foam, as opposed to what we have now where contractors go in assuming that they're going to use open cell foam, and then they have to backtrack when questions are asked about whether or not it performs well against closed. A lot of this misinformation is going to be straightened out as people begin to educate themselves, and I'm excited to be a piece of that, but I am just a piece. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. If you have videos that you want to see, make sure you let us know. I hope that this was a great point for you to start at in your research, and we look forward to seeing you next time inside Lighthouse.